If you're a Star Wars fan, or at least a fan of Rebels, I believe the show is no more, or at least it won't be after season 2. I don't know if anybody's really surprised. Does anybody really
no, it's Star Wars Resistance, right?
Or Resistance, is that what it's called? Yeah, Rebels.
Yeah, Rebels was the enjoyable one.
Oh, that's right. I screwed up. I'm sorry.
Who cares?
Resistance was that thing that looked like Voltron, right?
Yeah, the one that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is like this was launched last year with like a great deal of fanfare.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this looks like it sucks. And then today they announced the second season and that this would be the last season, which tells you that nobody was watching the show, not even kids. Because for them to cancel a Star Wars cartoon on Disney Plus, or not Disney Plus, Disney XD, I mean, that tells you a lot. That tells you that nobody was tuning in.
Star Wars used to be a license to print money. Jeez, what the hell happened? Well, Kathleen Kennedy happened. That's what happened.
George Lucas sold at the right time, apparently. Got out before it got bad.
George,
did you got no excuse, man. They had a story. Everybody liked it. They could have just made it. Everybody would have been happy. Stop it.
And then they gave it all to Rian Johnson.
Yeah, I was about to say, George, did you feel you got out at the right time, George? What do you think about this?
Are you kidding me? I got out while the getting was good.
Sold it to the white slavers.
Retired to an island. I mean, the white slavers. I mean, well, according to our source that we talked to that's very reliable, he didn't even want to sell it. He just wanted to give it away. But he had to sell it because of tax reasons. So that'll probably be in an upcoming video.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they canceled Resistance because they want to move all the Star Wars content over to Disney Plus. I wonder if that was the motivation behind it.
If that was the case, they would have just announced it's moving to Disney Plus, I think. Kind of like they did with Orville.
Yeah, but
usually, like even garbage, they squeeze out that extra season these days. You know, it's surprising that they were just like, no, that means it was doing really bad.
Well, there might have been some type of like contractual thing with Disney XD. I mean, just to say, I do know that they're looking to put all the TV Star Wars content on Disney Plus. So that could have been the motivation behind this decision, or it could have just been that nobody was watching the cartoon and they decided to axe it. But this is another Kathleen Kennedy era brainchild that fell flat on its face, apparently.
Kathleen Kennedy and Kiri Hart. Kiri Hart was a big.
I can't find any evidence of what it was, what her contribution was exactly. Like, what was her involvement with this cartoon? Do you know?
Who, Kiri Hart?
Kiri Hart, yeah.
She was take the ball.
She wasn't the showrunner, but I don't know. Her involvement with Lucasfilm in this story group deal is pretty vague, you know.
Well, I mean, that's
she was supposed to be like
I know that Kiri Hart was the head of the Lucasfilm story group, but I don't know what role she played in any of these projects. Like, what did she do?
That's the thing. Nobody knows what role these people play because they just show up, have coffee, talk, laugh at the little people, and collect a paycheck. That's all they did. It seems like. Well, it's just ha ha ha, sticking it to the man.
Like I don't even know what.
Let's see how long this.
I don't know what the responsibility of anyone in the Lucasfilm story group is. Are they like fact checkers? Do they come up with concepts that they then hand off to other writers? Like, what exactly does a story group do?
I think they have coffee.
Well, they probably do. Yeah. Professional having coffee.
They probably bullshit about their lives for about, I don't know, half the day. Then they, talk about like a paragraph for like an hour, and then, they go to lunch.
I mean, like they had to have some type of function at Lucasfilm. Like they had to have some type of input or task that they had to complete, but I don't know what that is. And I don't think I've read it. Like I've tried to research this, but I can't find anything that specifically says what the story group does. I know that they kind of helped out with Rian Johnson when he was writing The Last Jedi, but that doesn't really say much. It's kind of like all the inconsistency in that film in terms of Star Wars lore. Like they definitely weren't fact checking him.
Yeah, what would have been helpful is if the story group just like took one day to watch Star Wars.
It's before their time.
According
Funny
to
enough,
IMDb, she was senior vice president development for Lucasfilm, which is a bullshit title because anybody can be senior vice president of development. It's like outstanding award for achievement in the field of excellence.
goes to this inanimate carbon rod.
In other words, Jesse wasn't far off. She just went and got coffee for KK. That's about it.
Well, typically, like ahead of development, they're the ones that find the projects that go into the development process leading up to production. So, was Curie Hart the one responsible for proposing stuff like Solo and Rogue
If that's
One?
the case, that's why she got shit canned. Then I guess.
Well, did she get shit canned or did she leave?
Well,
Again, there's not a lot of info.
They were vague about it.
They were very vague about it, and she's
They
no
were very-
longer listed as an employee, but you have a link to her outside webpage or whatever it is through Lucasfilm. It's really weird.
That is
Like, she's
weird.
basically the one who kind of took the fall for everything, it seems like.
And then there's that new girl from the Bad Robot stable that came in.
JJ's former coffee getter, yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm just wondering what exactly
Michelle Red.
Yeah, Rejwan, I think. I'm just wondering what exactly their position entails. Like, are they doing producing duties?
Nobody knows. Nobody. That's one of the best kept secrets in Hollywood.
Well, if she is
Nobody
the one
really
who did
knows.
all this shit and okayed all this story shit and all that stuff, then I guess firing her, pushing her to the side was Disney's way of admitting that mistakes were made and it was her fault. Maybe it wasn't up to Kathy on all this. But then again, certain things we have heard is Kathy did put some of her input in.
Well, I know that in Hollywood, when I worked in Hollywood, there was this thing called D girls or development girls, and they were just like female assistants that read a bunch of scripts, and then when they found a script that they liked, they take it to the producer and be like, "Hey, you should check this out," and then it would go into development. And so, like, I don't know if Rejwan and Hart are in that position where they're kind of coming up with ideas that they take to KK and be like, "Hey, do you like any of these ideas?" And then she's like, "Yeah, let's do that one or that one." But they've got Benioff and Weiss and Ryan Johnson and Filoni and
well, that's just it. As head of development, is that her job to come up with, like you said, the things that they're going to produce, or is it her job to just facilitate the things that are decided that they're going to produce?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because there's really no description of what that job title entails or what the story group does necessarily. Like, what do they do? It's not like a writer's room.
They say, you know what, people like Han Solo, let's do that, and we'll have them do the Kessel Run because people want to see that.
Yeah, like it's weird, because typically a story group, I would think that their position would be to oversee all the stories going on across movies and TV and make sure that they're consistent and that they adhere to canon and stuff, like almost like a script supervisor's job, but over many different projects. But it doesn't sound like that's what they do. It doesn't. I don't know what they do.
If you look at everybody in the story group, with just maybe one or two exceptions, just about all of them have absolutely no experience in working in any kind of creative environment, as far as film or television or what have you. They maybe worked on a couple episodes here and there, some television series as script editors or whatever it is, but they all look to be kids fresh out of college, which makes me think that the story group was put together to try and gauge the pulse of younger people in the audience who they wanted to try to court. And the problem with that is the people you are trying to court are idiots. I mean, they don't
broke.
Well, the only thing I can think of is it might be kind of a model from the Bad Robot kind of writers incubator, where Bad Robot would bring in a lot of people and kind of groom them to become like future writers and on like other shows or movies or what have you. and this is like the stepping stone where Kathleen Kennedy handpicked some kids to come in and kind of groom them to be future like creators for Star Wars or something like that. Yeah. But I have no idea. You know, I can't really speak to. I mean, the story group thing is kind of like a new development in Hollywood, and I don't know exactly what they do.
I kind of have little doubt that she probably turned to J.J. Abrams. Is J.J., what would you do if you were running things? You know, so, Kathy, you have to pick a story. You have to groom people as creatives. You know, say, oh, very good. I'll get some kids out of college and I can mold them in my own image.
Okay, let's get back on this whole Resistance thing. That's where the fucking thing started 20 minutes ago.
Have any of you guys actually watched Resistance?
No, I hadn't noticed.
What was it on?
It was on Disney XD.
I don't know, dude. I got every channel. So I told
Do I even get that? I don't know.
Like I haven't seen it. I don't know how good or bad it is, but it just seems like nobody was watching it, which is why they canceled it.
Hey, Holmes, that's why they were watching the X-Men, because Resistance suck, you know?
Watching the Resistance, the audience must have. Well, the animation to me looked like that really cheap, shitty, like when they're trying to make CG look like 2D, but it's not quite, and it still has that 3D element to it. I don't know.
Cel-shaded CGI, yeah.
I also think that when you don't include Jedi and stuff, it just doesn't feel like Star Wars. It feels very generic. Like this just felt like it didn't look or feel like Star Wars to me.
Okay. Well, do we want to keep going on about this, or
did you even read the story, Rob?
No, we didn't read the story. Okay, first season of Star Wars Resistance debuted.
Debuted.
Oh, I prefer debuted. Debuted last fall, depicting the adventures of a pilot who gets caught up in Resistance ahead of the events of Star Wars: The Force Awakens that nobody cares about. My interjection. At the time, Star Wars fans knew that Disney was developing their own streaming service. Yet details about the service were unclear. With Disney Plus set to debut in November, fans have wondered what that would mean for Resistance. Though we now have our answer. The release of a new trailer for the second season that nobody cares about. The series has confirmed that it will be the final season. Season 2, the story picks up after a harrowing escape from the First Order as the Colossus and all its residents find themselves lost in space with no GPS and out of gas. Pursued by Agent Tierney and Commander Pyre, Kaz and team also must face a myriad of new dangers that nobody cares about along the way, including bounty hunters that can hit broadside of a barn, a suspicious Hutt who's not Jabba, I suppose, a General Hux that is a ginger idiot, and Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Really? You're going to Supreme? Hey, there's only one Supreme Leader, and it's not this homosexual Kylo Ben. Okay, he's closeted homosexual.
But he has quite the chest. He's got a con chest going for him.
He's one sandwich away from pushing from being a size XXL. Okay.
He's swole, as the kids like to say.
Swole, he's swole, yes. Meanwhile, Tam grapples with her future and where her true allegiance lies. Here come the cops. And her friends in the First Order. Thrilling final season showcase the unlikeliest of heroes. Chaos spark hope across the galaxy. Oh, who cares? Joining forces cast Joe Manganiello. Nobody cares. The series airs on Disney Channel, so the series is coming to an end. Isn't something that comes as a surprise, though it's unclear if the series was always intended to only last 2 seasons or if there were any factors at play. This is the only final season of the animated series fans can expect this year, as launch of Disney Plus will also include the debut of the final season of Star Wars Clone Wars by the end of the year. Tune in, nobody cares, okay. Nobody cares, okay. No, that's exactly how it sums up. Nobody cares.
I think that if the show was making money or somewhat successful, they'd probably keep it going. Guess as nobody was watching this, and that's one of the reasons why they decided to do it. That's just my guess. I don't know.
Obviously, or it would be on still. I mean, even Rebels had a little bit of an audience for it.
Well, it would be interesting to see what the Nielsen ratings are for it and compare it to something like Rebels or Clone Wars or something, just to see like how it stacks up. But I don't know where to get that info.
I want to say Clone Wars did really well, from what I recall.
Well, it was on for a long time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that pretty well. Huh?
It was an enjoyable show.
Well, yeah, but I mean, ratings-wise.
You know what would have saved the show? Dune buggies.
Dune Buggy.
Buggy fixed everything.
Yes.
I know I'd have watched it if it.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, why not subscribe and click the bell icon for all the latest content? And be sure to check out our other videos. Stay tuned because another video is coming right up.